Silence, her newest novel, Her Silence, came out in July or comes out in July. I'm very excited. I was telling her before we started recording, I think it's going to be one of my favorite thrillers I read this year, and I do a bracket every year, so that's very exciting. Please welcome ST Ashman. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So now this episode is a little bit more about you as a reader. So first and foremost, what is your relationship to reading and do you like to read?
Uh, yes, of course, I love to read. So I read a lot even as a teenager, and interestingly, I read a lot of romance when I was a teenager, and it wasn't even
Mm,
like the horrible bare-chested covers kind of.
yeah.
I found one actually at a train station when I was 16 or something or 17, and I liked it so much. I was reading it on my way to Paris, or was it Paris? I was somewhere. No, I was older for that trip. But anyways, I found at some place I found one of these, and I
Uh-huh.
was so hooked. And before that, I read as a kid I read a lot. I read the Neverending Story. Then what else? As a kid, I really why can't I think of it? It's like that. I can't have the English title. Um, Dark Matter, is that the no,
Mm,
it's not Dark Matter. Anyways, it was a fantastic fantasy book, and yeah, of course, I love to read.
yeah. You talked a little bit about romance and fantasy and sci-fi being genres that you really like, and it's interesting that you write thrillers.
Yeah,
And did you read a lot of thrillers or do you read a lot of thrillers?
now I do. I
Mhm.
live the thrillers because when I was
Yeah.
a therapist, I actually lived those things that people write about. So I didn't
Uh-huh.
read at all. I always watched thriller on TV. I mean
Mm,
Hannibal and The Silence of the Lamb, and that's like probably one of my all-time favorite TV shows. I or like movies, and so that is yeah. But reading wise, I didn't really read a lot of thrillers until I started writing them, and that's. But I guess yeah, I was literally living them. Like the other
yeah.
people write about with work like murderers, and I was sitting across from them with nothing but a plastic table in between
Yeah.
that person and me and nobody else. So that's how I became a thriller author. That's why I guess I'm
Yeah.
so comfortable with it. But now, of course, I read them too, and I love them.
Yeah. That's so interesting though, because it's like
Isn't it
funny
wild?
how, yeah, how
Nobody
that
really asked me
happens.
this question before, so I didn't really. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But Yeah, and I remember my mom was always so embarrassed because, I always lived abroad. I left when I was 18, and when she would bring me to the airport or something, I always stopped by to get a book, and it was these ones with a bare chest because back then you didn't really have Goodreads or
Hmm.
Storygraph, or maybe it was there and I didn't know. I mean, I'm talking, my gosh, I'm 42 now. We're talking almost, no, we're talking over 20 years ago. Was there Goodreads
Yeah.
over 20 years ago? I don't know, but you had to choose them by the covers. And I knew if it was a bare-chested cover, it would be a real romance. And she hated it. She would not sometimes go in the store with me because she's a die-hard reader. Like this
Uh,
woman probably 30 to 40 books a month. I'm not joking.
oh my
Or maybe that's
gosh.
too much, maybe 20. But she reads almost a book a day. She is it's wild, but
Wow.
she is a thriller. Oh my God, she loves thrillers. Her whole life she was reading thrillers, so she's so happy that what I'm doing right now. But she also
Yeah.
reads a lot of Tolstoy, like really like literally
Mm,
masterpieces. And then for
yeah.
me to be like for her one time I asked her, "Hey, I gotta go also get some food at the airport. Can you please grab that she was like, "No, I'm not buying one of your I'm embarrassed. I'm not gonna do it." I remember, again, this is 20 years
Yeah.
ago, like in these like naked, half
Yeah.
naked men on the cover. And she was like, I'm not doing it. No.
Yeah. Little does she know that nowadays you can read a smutty romance and the cover will be like two cartoon characters of people, you know?
Isn't that
So then,
wild or flat?
what are some of the themes or tropes or things that you look for when you're picking up a book to read?
I just don't want to guess the twist. If I
Okay.
guess the twist from the beginning, I'll be I mean, if the character building is good enough and that I'm invested and I'm rooting for
Mhm.
one character and then I get what I rooted for, then it's still amazing. But if I guess the twist immediately, that's something that to me is it's a little sad. Like not sad
Yeah.
as, and I'm again I never badly rate another artists or writers or work publicly.
Hmm.
To me, when I pick up a book, I really want to have this, you know,
Yeah,
that's
moment.
a
Okay.
special treat. That's a special treat
Yeah.
because you're investing, especially when you have so little time, you kind of invest into that
Mm.
book, and and then that moment that no, you didn't. That is just it's just so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I like try to guess at the beginning and then I make almost a game out of it, but I do want to be
Oh.
surprised, you know?
Yes, don't you? And I feel like
Yeah.
people have to give more slack to authors. If that author pulled it off and seriously surprised you and you hated
Yeah.
everything else about the story, maybe
Yeah.
bump it to 3 stars instead of
Yeah.
a 1 because they pulled it off to at least
Yeah.
surprise you.
Yeah. And even if I was able to guess it because I read so many thrillers and sometimes you
Yeah,
can't help
yeah.
but it has to be the boyfriend or whatever it is. I think if it's
Mhm.
written well, like that's okay.
Yeah, if you
You know?
invested
Yeah.
in it. So then
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fine. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
popcorn thrillers are so predictable,
Yeah.
good, but they're so fun and you're rooting for the characters and you know it would happen and then you're so glad it
Yeah.
happened because you needed kind of like with movies where you want the bad guy to really, and then it
Mm-hmm.
happens and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.